tutorial. Today I want to show you how you can start and move and animate and wig and model this little spaceship here. It's for beginners and I don't want to waste your time, so let's get right started. So we start with a brand new file here, and I turned on my screencast key so you see here what I'm typing. So first of all, we want to subdivide this plane. We can do so by going to the modifiers tab. You go to subdivision surface and then you increase here the surface up to 5. Then we go with tab to edit mode. So first of all, we just select here the outer 4 vertices, and it doesn't select the back one because you didn't use toggle X-ray, because if you select here, it selects only these which are visible and not hidden by the object himself, and this vertex here is hidden by the box. And if you toggle X-ray and do it again, you will see it selects all of them. So now we select the 4 vertices here, of course with X-ray on, and then we move them a little bit with GY on the y-axis, so we get a longer thing here. Then we toggle off the X-ray mode so we can see it here better, and now we use the crease. First of all, we change to edge, as you can see here, edge select, so we select just edges. Now we use crease. Crease is a value with which you can define how much the subdivide modifier will change the object or not. Let me try to show you, because showing is always better than telling. So Shift E to change the crease, and you can see if I push this up, it's not subdivided at all, this edge. If I would do this with all edges, you would see I have now here this circle, but with a very sharp edge. And if I turn it down to 0, I have no crease at all. And you also can see the values here. If you press N, you see here mean crease, and you can, example, change it to 0, and you see now it's round again. Okay, we just want to change this a little bit, so Shift E and turn up the mouse a bit. Then we make the same here, Shift E, turn up the mouse a bit, and we do the same if you select both of them. Of course, you can then change both of them how you like it. And then what we do, we also grab these two here, and then we press SZ. So we scale these both a little bit together, and maybe make this a little bit sharper here. So we select the two outer edges here, Shift E again, and we crease this a little bit. So we have a kind of cool spaceship here. Now we want to right click on it and say shade smooth, so it's really smooth, as you can see. And now we want to make the engines, so we say Shift A and we add mesh, and we choose a cylinder here, and then we say RX90 to rotate it, and then we tap to edit mode and we scale in edit mode down here, and then we go tap in object mode again and we say GZ and GY and move it around here. So very important to know is where is the pivot point of our object, and as you can see, the pivot point, which is the yellow point here, which if you don't see it, you can toggle it on and off here, as you can see, if you toggle the origins, which are here in the viewport overlays. And it's important. Why it is important? Because this is the point where the object is everything doing with, because if you change it, example given, I just change now the origin here, GY, and watch now if I rotate my object RX, and you see it rotates around this pivot point. That's why the pivot point is very, very important. So, and now comes the important step. I now do move my object here in edit mode with G, X and beside here. Why would I do this? Because now the pivot point is here, but what I can do now is I can add a mirror modifier here, and the mirror modifier mirrors the object, as you can see here, by the x-axis. Of course you can mirror by more axes, example given Z or Y, but you won't see anything because it's the same axis on Z and Y because the pivot point is here. But because by moving the object in edit mode, the origin stayed here, but the object moved to here. That's why we can now mirror on the x-axis and then we can see something. So what we want to do now is right click and we say shade out of smooth, then it looks a little bit nicer. And then we go in edit mode again and we select here face select mode, select this face, press S, and then we make this a little bit smaller here. Then we press Alt R to create a loop cut. We scroll the mouse a little bit up, so we have 3 guys here. Press click click, and now we have these nice loop cuts here. Now we're gonna select here the edge with shift control, so we have an edge loop select here, and then we turn on our proportional editing, and then we say S to scale. And if you see now it scales, but we don't want to scale the whole thing, just a bit. So we scroll down the wheel so we can change the influence of our proportional editing, which is shown by the radius. And if we now turn this up, you see we get a nicer form, shape of the object. Yeah, I think this looks already pretty nice. And what we do now, we go to face select, then we select this face here, we press I to insert this a little bit, and then we press E to extrude, move this a little bit in there. And now we got already our turbines, our engines, which are looking pretty nice, I think. What we want to do now, maybe it, because I like it, we press here on the viewport shading, and then I click on random, so I get some colors here, which is nice. What I want to do now is I want to make 2 objects of this, because now it's just 1. So I say mirror apply, and then go to edit mode with tab, press A to select everything, and then I'm gonna go mesh separate by loose parts. But for the quick ones under us, we can just press P and then choose by loose parts, and you see now we have now here 2 objects, cylinder 001, which are our engines. But now we want to, if we rotate them, example given Y, you see that's not the rotation we want. So we're gonna want to put the pivot point back to the object. This we're gonna do with object, set origin to geometry. And now if you rotate around the x-axis, you see that's what we want. That looks great. Same to this one, so object set origin to geometry. What we want to do now is we want to, of course, if we move this, we want to move the engine with it. So that's what we do with parenting. So we click these both objects with shift select. We can select more, and then at last we shift select the spaceship, and then we press Ctrl P, and now set parent to object keep transform. So now if we move the ship, you see the engine moves with us. That's exactly what we want. So now we want to control the engines here, and first of all we copy them. So we select both with shift select and then shift D to double Y to move them on the Y-axis, and then maybe we move them a little bit down, GZ. Yeah, I think that looks good. And now we add the controller that we can move them all together. So we add an empty, Shift A, empty, and then we choose a cube. And then we move this cube a little bit up, GZ and GY, just in the middle. That looks good. And of course the controller should move with the ship as well. So we select the empty, Shift select our ship, Control P to parent, keep transform. And if we now move our ship, everything moves with us, which is great. What we want to do now is, if we rotate the cube, we want to rotate the engines as well. How do we do this? We do this with an object constraint, which is a copy rotation constraint. So we choose this one guy here, and then we say here to add object constraint, and we say copy rotation. And then you can choose the target, example given by pressing here, and then click on the object empty. And now you see something which you don't want because it's already rotating. Why did it do this? Because this one had already a 90-degree rotation. That's because it's very important to apply the rotation before. So we shift select all of these guys here, press Ctrl A and say apply rotation scale. And now you see the error is gone, everything is fine. And if I now rotate this, example given RY, no, it's of course the wrong axis, RX, you see, the one engine is already doing what we want. That's exactly what we want. Or RZ, we can of course move it to all axes as we want. Okay, now we don't want to add these object constraints to all manually, so we just shift select all of them, and at last we shift select the one with the object constraint. Here we see there is no. So we go here to object and we go to constraints, copy constraints to selected objects. And now watch this, we go to the empty RX and all is moving as we want it. Z, and you see we can move it. Okay, now for a little animation. We first want to, the ship should bring the engines to the right positions. So we give a keyframe with I to the rotation of our cube. And now we want to move the engine downwards. So we say RX and move it downwards. And we go here to frame 40 and say I rotation. Now go back and with shift we can play the animation. This looks already fine to me. And now the engine will be started. And that's where we want to have this shaky movement of the spaceship like this. And because it's so heavy power of the engines. So we say first on frame 50, we say I location. Now the location is keyframed. And the shaking should be until 100. So we go here to the timeline and press Ctrl Tab. And now we changed to the graph editor. And we open this up here and we see here a Z location. Of course there's just one keyframe which is here. This is right. Now we want to shake it. And that's where we come here to the modifiers. Add modifier noise. And watch this, as I play this is exactly what I want. And I can even change the strength here. I think it's a little bit too much. So we use just a little bit of strange, something like this. You can also, of course, change the scale if you want. Then the movement is a little bit slower. And yeah, you can here change the phase if you want. And you can change the offset. So I think this is looking already pretty nice. Okay, I move down strength a little bit. But I don't want, of course, this for the whole animation. Should start at frame 40, I think. Here we start the engine, so we say restrict frame range. And we want to start at frame 40. And the end frame is 250. No, it's not 250. We want to change it at, yeah, I think, yes, 70 is okay. So we stop this here. And this is a little bit too harsh, the changing here. So we blend this in. So we say blend in from 30. And you see now from 30 to 40 it's getting more and more. And this is exactly how it should look like. And at the end we blend it out. So maybe start 10. No, 30. Yeah, 30 is good. No, 40. Yeah. And we blend out till 80. Now we want to spaceship, of course, to lift up. So after the shaking, we do eye location again, and then we lift this up. I think with 20 frames this is okay. And so I'm gonna say GZ, and I say EZ for the location, so eye location. And if you now watch the animation, it's going up. That's exactly what we want. And now we want to, of course, rotate the engines to the direction we want to fly to. So X, and it will rotate like this. So we say here I rotation. And a little bit later we say X again and turn it as you like it. And then we say I rotation again and select the ship, I location, and now lift off. So we just move the frame a little bit further away. We say G, move it as you like it, and then I location. Now let's watch this. I think it looks pretty good, but now it stops here. This is not what we want. So we go to the location keyframes again. And now I show you a little trick. Press the home button so you see all these location keyframes. Then press Shift H so we just change and see the location keyframes. And now we select only the last two keyframes here. And now we press Shift A, linear extrapolation. And the good thing now is the ship just flies forever away, as you can see here. That was a linear extrapolation, which is very nice. Yeah, now this is all I wanted to show you. The ship engines are turning, it's vibrating a bit, turning again, and then starting off in the sky. Hope you have fun, hope you learned something. Bye.